While still in high school, Judy Peddle showed great promise as a track athlete. By age 16, she had already set a new provincial record for the junior girls 60-yard dash and was a member of Team Saskatchewan. A few years after that, she became the national junior champion in the 400-meter event. Her career as an athlete was unfortunately cut short by injury. She required surgery to replace a tendon in her ankle, which left her unable to compete at the same level.
It wasn't my choice to quit running. I had just reached the point where I was national champion in the 400 meters for women in Canada. I had been invited to my first ever international invitational competition, and I was really excited about that, and then I slipped and fell and really sprained my ankle. I tried to keep on running on the ankle, and that destroyed it, so I had to have a tendon transplant.
But her coach and fellow Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame inductee Bob Adams challenged Peddle to remain involved in the sport. He invited her to become a manager with the Saskatoon Track and Field Club. It was the beginning of a long and impressive career in sports administration.
2 days after the surgery, Coach Bob Adams, who's a big hero to both my sister and myself, and came to me and said, "Okay, kid, time to get back. You can't run anymore." I did sort of prove him wrong, because I did run against Abby Hoffman once and come within an inch of her, and I hadn't trained. But it wouldn't support training on it. So I started out as a coach and loved that. I was the first female coach at Riversdale Track Club. Loved the young athletes and the interaction, but then I got married and had kids. And training at supper time doesn't work when you have little ones. So I became an official, and I became an administrator. I went on the board of Saskatoon Track Club, and then they nominated me to the board of Saskatchewan Athletics.
Peddle served on the Saskatchewan Athletics Board of Directors for 11 years, including 8 as president. She was the technical director for Saskatchewan Athletics from 1986 to 91. She was the manager of the University of Saskatchewan Track Club from 91 to 2004. And during all that time, she worked with Athletics Canada as the national team manager at various international events. She was also active in several committees at SAS Sport, Saskatchewan Athletics, and Athletics Canada.
And I just loved working with the association. At that time, there was a change in my personal life, and I became a single mom. And the executive director talked me into applying for the technical director position. He said, "Take a leave of absence from the board. You're doing all this work as a volunteer. You could be getting paid for it." And so that's how I transitioned from a volunteer administrator into a paid staff. And thus began a career that spanned, close to 20 years. And I loved every minute of it. I mean, who's lucky enough to get paid to do their passion?
In 1993, Peddle became a volunteer in wheelchair athletics, moving on to become the executive director of Saskatchewan Wheelchair Sports. Additionally, she worked closely with Canada's wheelchair rugby program as an organizer and development coordinator. And in 2000, she attended the Paralympic Games in Sydney as a delegate with the Canadian national wheelchair rugby team.
I had probably the best job there because I was the events special coordinator. I met parents at the airport. I planned parties. I planned the practices and the trips back and forth from the village. And it was a wonderful 20 days. It was probably one of the big highlights in my life as a volunteer. And I was there as a volunteer, not as staff.
Peddle also pursued a parallel career as an athletics official. In the beginning, she worked several local and regional meets, including both CIS and club competitions throughout Western Canada. Nationally, she officiated at many junior and senior national championships, as well as the Jeux Canada Games in 1993 and 2005. She worked her way to a Level 5 certification, allowing her to work as a chief umpire and track referee at international competitions, including the Commonwealth Games in '78 and '86, the World Student Games in 1983, the Pan American Games in '99, the World Championships in 2001, the World Masters Indoor Games in 2010, and the World Masters Outdoor Games in 2011. Installed in the Saskatchewan Sports Hall of Fame on June 16, 2012, Judy Peddle.